Hey, welcome to the Christian Media Marketing Show. My name is John. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope that you find that everything that you're doing is being blessed by the Lord. I hope that the Lord is blessing your ministry. I hope He's blessing your family. I hope He's blessing you. I hope that you are feeling and knowing and walking in the Spirit and you're seeing then that peace that only He can provide. I'm excited to share with you today because this is one of the things that I continue to come back to in my own life, in the ministry here of Kavanaugh, and just in people that I have a mentoring relationship with, either that I'm mentoring or those who mentor me. And I think both of those things are really important. It's good to be around people who are at the same place where you are. It's good to be helping those who maybe aren't as far along on the journey, but it's also really important to be looking to those who are further down the road than you and asking questions of them. So today I want to talk to you about this concept of doing the things that bring the most impact to your digital engagement efforts. Maybe just to your whole ministry efforts, maybe just to your whole life in general. Now, this principle is called the Pareto principle. And I'd like to talk about what that looks like in practice in digital engagement. As much as we want to, we cannot do everything. And the people who work with us can't do everything either. Especially in the 21st century, we're having to make extremely hard choices. You know this. Ministry is hard. There's things that you want to do, there's things that need to be done, there's all of that. And the reality is that we're never actually done. There's always work to be done. In fact, if you think that done is, well, everyone knows and everyone has had a chance to know Jesus and to accept him, well, we're far from being done. So what should we stop doing? What do we need to continue? What should we start doing that we've never done before? Every ministry is asking these questions in regard to their key operational areas. And these questions should also apply to our digital transformation and engagement efforts. All what we're doing, this is a big part of what I'm going to talk about next week, which is stewardship. When it impacts our time, when it impacts our resources, our financial, our gifts, our team assets that we have, what should we stop? What should we keep going? What should we be all in on? Now, the Pareto principle was named after an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto. He discovered in 1896 that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the people. And the mathematics behind the principle tends to follow a power law. For example, when the side of a rectangle is doubled, the area in the rectangle quadruples. So in ministry, in digital transformation and engagement, some things we do have more impact than others. In fact, a few things we do have an outsized impact. So what are those things? Every one of us is going to have different ones that fit into that. All right. So the key is to focus on what really matters. First and foremost, I think it's really important for you to be reviewing your ministry and just your overall strategic objectives. What is your ministry trying to achieve? At the most highest level, at the most important level, what is it that you're trying to do? Is your main goal about the number of video views? How many likes that you've had? How many page followers? How many messages? How many conversions? How many churches planted? Is maybe something else? Whatever the main goal is, that needs to become your litmus test. That needs to become your 80-20 test. That's where the Pareto principle comes into it. So what I would encourage you to do is to list all of your digital engagement initiatives. Look at every page, look at every area, look at all of your ministry things. And here's one reason why it's important, because sometimes we get caught up doing a lot of things and they don't necessarily help us with our ultimate objective. So rate each of your ministry initiatives that you do, your digital engagement ones, but everything else that you do, and look at it to look at what is its impact, its direct impact on your ministry goal. Chances are only about 20% of your projects impact 80% of the results that you said are really, really important. So it's possible that we can get caught up on things that aren't really that important. Or it's possible that we don't give emphasis to the things that really help what our ministry is trying to do. In business, there is this concept just of, you have to sell things. And if you don't sell things, you don't stay in business. Unfortunately, in the nonprofit world and in the ministry world, many times if we have enough resources, we can keep doing something, even if it's not being that fruitful. So it's hard. It's hard to know sometimes, when do we stop something? Maybe we're close. Maybe we're close to a breakthrough. Maybe we're close to finding that final thing that's going to help us see results. Or maybe it's been something that we continue to do and we're unwilling to stop it. There's another business principle, just the sunk cost fallacy, which basically comes back to this idea that when you've done something for so long, you don't want to stop or give up on it because you realize how much that you have already spent or done for something. But why keep doing it if it's not working? So thinking through the little things, which is a podcast that I did just a few months ago, because the little things matter. That's really, really important. But think about, what is that 80% impact? Is it a color scheme? Is it a logo? Is it branding? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not here today to tell you what things should be on your list. More importantly, I just want to ask you to think about yourself, your ministry. What are those things that makes the biggest impact? Maybe you've been trying to be an influencer. Maybe you're trying to do daily posts. Is it helping? Can you measure it? Can you look back on it? Not anecdotally, not going, well, we know of one person, because this is where, when we start looking at the data, you can go, well, one person did, but how many others didn't? How much time do we put into it? Is there something better? Even just in digital engagement and in marketing, does creating elaborate funnels and systems help us with our 80%? Maybe, and maybe not. So here's a couple of things that I want to suggest to you that you need to know. You need to know what your ultimate objective is, and you need to know your people group. But one of the things that you can do is to leverage the algorithm, the elaborate funnels, the systems, all of those kind of things. The algorithms are getting better and better. I know some might say, well, the algorithm, it penalizes me. I've not seen it in our ministry efforts in over 100 countries and thousands of ads and content. When we're trying to follow the just terms of service and the rules, we're finding that the algorithm is getting better and better at finding us those who are spiritually seeking. So leverage the algorithm. Don't make work harder. Make work smarter. Secondly, know who is doing what and what things are not going to be done. This is really important, especially if you're on a team, is to understand who has what roles and look through that and look who's doing what. Really map it out. So know your objective and your people group. Know who is doing what and who's not doing what it is in your ministry. Third, know what the daily workflow is going to look like. It's possible sometimes that we start on new things not understanding the time, the commitment, the cost involved. If it helps us hit our ministry objective, then it's worth it. If it's our 80% impact, if it's that Pareto principle, all right, if we're doing that and that's that 20% that's getting us our largest impact, great. But know what that's going to look like. Do your research there. And then know finally what the strategy is, moving from person to person evangelism and discipleship and leadership and church formation. Know how whatever it is that you're doing, it could be digital engagement, could be your media to movement type of initiatives. It could be just digital outreach. It could be whatever it is that you're doing. It could be physical ministry activities that you're doing. But know on them that what each part of that helps you for your ultimate goal. So you need to have a strategy. If you're on the field and you're wanting to see that disciples being made who can make disciples and they being gathered together into spiritual groups and churches, it's important to have a strategy. Each of these are critical in a complex spiritual battlefield. One of the things that I looked at when I was researching for today's podcast was just the idea of the Pareto principle in battle itself. In fact, the U.S. Army has a whole document that talks about really thinking about 80% of your impact by 20% of your activity. What are those critical things in battle? And in a spiritual battle, it's just as important. And so for the work that you're doing, really think, pause, evaluate. Don't put your identity to what it is that you're doing. Put the work that you're doing all on in your hands and open it up to the Lord as part of your worship to Him. What are you strong in? What are you weak in? What are you needing help in? What's your ultimate goal? What's your team's ultimate goal? What's your organization's ultimate goal? Then is everything that you're doing moving towards that goal? Be ruthless. Test everything. And if you find that something that you're doing is the thing that's giving you that large 80% impact, then go all in. Don't stop. Do whatever it takes to be able to do that. One final thing with this before I close with you today is that even though you want to lean into this Pareto principle and be doing that 80% impact type of work, I also think it's really important to have a portion of what you're doing, which is just research and development, areas where you are trying new things and learning and possibly even failing. That's okay. You see, anything that we do, we're either going to win or we're going to learn. It's going to work or we'll learn from the process. So don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as a learning opportunity. All right. So I hope that this helps you today to just really evaluate. We can dive into the nitty gritty of some of the technical stuff, but more than anything else, I want you to understand the why behind it and do the things that matter the most to the work that you are doing. All right. So may the Lord bless you in all your efforts to make His Son known. If we can ever help you in any way, please let us know. Make sure you subscribe, share, and let us know other topics or things that you think would be a benefit to the kingdom at large. Until next time, keep making Jesus famous. Bye for now.